Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Just bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie will connect you with local pros who match your specific needs. Or book a service instantly at an upfront price. So join the millions of homeowners who use Angie to care for their homes and get your next home service job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
I screamed very loudly.
Did anybody come?
Somebody came to my rescue after I tried to get the one dog's jaw off my dog's throat because she was struggling. She was crying and screaming and struggling really badly.
This is the plaintiff, Brenda Sonigan. She says one of the defendant's two vicious pit bulls lifted the latch to her gate with his snout, got into her yard, and attacked her poor 11-year-old golden cocker. Her neighbor grabbed a piece of wood and started beating the pit bull. The dog let go and then bit her. She was out of work for 7 days. Her dog needed emergency vet care, and the uncaring, very irresponsible defendant refuses to pay her the $4,643.96 she's owed. This is the defendant, Christine O'Brien. She says she shouldn't have to pay all this money because the dogs aren't hers and the plaintiff's gate wasn't closed when the two dogs got into it. She also never presented her with a clear itemized bill, and she is sure the plaintiff is trying to milk her for every dime she can make over this unfortunate situation of two dogs just being dogs. She's accused of having vicious propensities.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Ms. Sonican, you are suing your kind of neighbor, Ms. O'Brien, for $4,643.96 in damages that you say you sustained in vet bills, your medical bills, and pain and suffering and lost wages as a result of her pit bulls getting out. What happened and attacking your dog?
On October 5th, approximately 1 p.m. in the afternoon, I was outside by my vehicle, and my dog was outside with me in my fenced-in yard.
Okay.
And she was
barking. So your vehicle, you and your dogs are all inside the fenced-in yard?
Yes.
Okay.
And my dog was at the corner, like 50 feet away from me.
Okay.
And I saw her barking. I heard her barking. I looked over, and I saw a pit bull. And by the time I can get to her...
Did you recognize the pit bull?
No.
Okay. Had you ever seen the pit bull?
No.
Okay.
By the time I reached her, there was the dog.
Who?
My dog.
Okay.
The pit bull already...
How did the pit bull get into your fenced-in yard?
It lifted up the latch.
For real?
For real.
With what?
With his nose, lift up the latch, and barged his way in and pushed the gate in.
What kind of latch are we talking about?
It's like a handle. It's like a silver handle.
Do you have a picture of it?
I have a picture, yes.
Yeah, let me see. Did the dog have an owner with it?
No, did not.
This is your fence?
That's my fence.
Okay, so is the latch the kind that's shaped like this and then goes up and down?
Yes.
Or what other,
it's like a U-shaped?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so that dog lifts it open?
Lifted and pushed his way in.
Okay. And what happens?
And then there was another dog behind it, which they were both, by the time I got to my dog, had my dog on the ground.
Both dogs?
One on each side, yes, one on each side.
And what happened? What did they do to your dog?
They sutures. I mean, my dog had to have surgery.
What did the two dogs do to your dog? They started to bite your dog?
Yes, they were ripping her apart each ear. You know, one on each side.
What did you do?
I screamed very loudly.
Did anybody come?
Somebody came to my rescue after I tried to get the one dog's jaw off my dog's throat because she was struggling. She was crying and screaming and struggling really badly.
Okay, how did you did you succeed in getting the dog off of your dog?
I did get the one dog's jaw off my dog's neck.
With your
but
hands?
Then yes, and that's how I got the puncture wound.
Brave woman.
I just
so you
was in
stuck your hands in a
survival
pit bull's mouth in order to save your dog.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and then the neighbor who heard you screaming, what did they do?
He came over, he asked me to get a stick. I got a wood stick out of my yard, and he started hitting the dogs off.
And did that work or no?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
So what did the two dogs do after you?
They ran off.
How did they run off? Your door didn't close?
No, the gate was open.
How did it stay open?
It stayed open because when they pushed it opened. I'll show you.
It just stays when you push it?
They pushed it in.
So they just run off?
They just ran off.
How did you identify what house they belonged to?
I didn't. The police officer that came captured one, and he was already tied to the fence across the street
By
from
the
me.
police?
By the policeman,
And
yes.
then how did he capture the other one?
How did he capture? They canvassed the area and found the other one.
Okay, so
they
at some
observed the
point,
dog.
animal control or the police must get a hold of you. How does that happen?
Actually, that day they got a hold of me.
How did they know that it was you to get a hold of?
Because when I came out of my house that day, I was walking my girlfriend to her car, and there was a police officer, and I saw Marilyn down the road. That was
Who's Marilyn?
Was one of my pit bulls. So
Okay, so how many pit bulls do you have?
I have two, but they're not mine.
Well, they're in your custody.
Well, they were my brother's, and he passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that. How long ago did your brother pass
He
away?
passed away on August 10th.
Okay, so they've been your pit bulls since August 10th. Tell me, what happened that day?
I just canvassed the area, and I made sure that the dogs can't get out because there was a spot in the backyard that she could get out of. Only Marilyn.
Well, then how did both dogs get out of your yard?
Because that day we had a solar panel people for the sun. I have a document in your file.
Just tell me what it was. You had workers there? Okay.
Yeah, and workers were there, and the gate must not have been closed because Marilyn can usually get out, but she hasn't been getting out since I moved in there.
Does Marilyn get out a lot?
She used to get out a lot until
And then what? Marilyn would get out a lot, and
Lucy
Marilyn,
would,
the pit bull,
yes,
would be just roaming your neighborhood and nobody minded?
No, because not that nobody minded, but the kids would come and bring her home to me.
How often did that happen?
Well, when my brother got the dogs, I really don't know.
So the dogs have just been accustomed to roaming the neighborhood to pit bulls? Why is it never like poodles that roam the neighborhood?
No,
Why is it pit bulls?
it's pit bulls.
Pit bulls or Doberman, Rottweilers, that's the only things that roam the neighborhood because the owners really, the dogs are the dogs, that's their nature. It's not, the problem and the reason why we have court is because of the owners. Your
Yes.
dogs need to be confined.
Yes.
And when they're out, they need to be on leashes. It's not okay to say, well, Marilyn roams and everything's great and nobody minds because Marilyn, but Lucy, we know we're going to have her on a leash. How is that okay?
I didn't say it was okay. She got out, and I tried to fix the problem.
So why am I here? Because this happened, and you haven't paid a penny to this lady. And she has vet bills. She has vet bills for the dog of $900, her own medical bills of $60, and then the rest of what she's asking for is lost wages and pain and suffering. I get that, but I don't get how it is that you haven't paid her the amount that's indisputable.
When she came to my house and she asked me, I was upset with everything with my brother. She was very understandable about that because it just had happened with my brother.
Wait, stop.
Yes.
I'm sorry. This happened in October, right?
October 5th.
Yes.
Your brother passed away in August.
Yes, and
Okay.
I was moving into his house, and we're trying to get everything up to with doing everything. The dogs came with the whole entire thing. They weren't my property or my responsibility.
Stop. That's where you're wrong. When you agree to take care of those dogs, they're your responsibility on behalf of the rest of humanity. We need you to do what you're supposed to do. You can't just keep saying, they're not my responsibility. They're not your responsibility. Take them to the pound. Do what you need to do. If they're not your responsibility, get them sold, get them given away, get them adopted. Do what you need to do. But when you choose to keep the pets, you've chosen to keep the pets. They are your responsibility.
Okay.
I don't know who else is there going to be.
I understand that. But in the whole thing, I had said that I would help her do it. I just wanted an itemized vet bill.
Didn't you get that?
No, I got an itemized vet bill with not what happened to her, not with what kind of surgery the dog had, with not anything. Just
Let me see the vet bill.
And I have it also.
That's okay. You're okay. That's all right.
Let me see what you have. What's not itemized about it? Every single thing that they charge for is right there.
Okay, well, what kind of surgery did she have?
What do you mean?
What kind of surgery? What did she have done to her? What did the dog have done?
What are you talking about? Laceration repair. There were rips and they had to get stitches.
I don't understand.
Well, if you don't understand, that's on you. That's not on the report. I'm reading it.
And then if she...
How can it be any more detailed?
So hurt, excuse me, if the dog was so hurt, why did she go all the way to Hamptons instead of the vet on the highway of William Floyd, which was 1.3 miles?
Maybe that's not her vet. Maybe she wants to go to her own vet.
Oh, all right. I was just wondering if it was so bad.
Well, apparently it was $900.81 bad. Yeah.
Well, how come
is that the total that you had to spend?
That's the total for the vet.
Okay, and then the $60 is on your own medical bills because you got bit?
I got bit.
Scratched or bit?
I got bit. I got a puncture wound. I have
Did they have to do stitches for you or no?
No, a puncture wound, they won't do stitches. The wound has to stay open.
Right.
They
Okay,
did an
now the rest
X-ray.
of what you're suing for is $1,683.15 for lost wages.
Yes.
Okay, because you took how long off? 7 days?
7 days total. 5 1 week, 2
And
the
pain
next.
and suffering. Why did you take 7 days off?
Because I had the puncture wound. I am a nurse, and I can't go to work with an open wound.
Do you have any medical records that say that you couldn't work because the wound
Yes.
needed to stay? Let me see that.
Thank you.
Okay, now that's a letter for your job from the urgent care center that you went to saying to excuse you from work due to illness injury. Okay.
Right.
In your statement, what you said was, I had to stay home. Let me get it completely correct. I don't want to put words in your mouth. In the meantime, I was out of work because I needed to hand feed and nurture my traumatized dog. Tell me about that.
Yes. She couldn't eat by herself. I had to feed her, hand feed her.
What were the injuries to your dog? What did it end up being?
She had staples, sutures. I have pictures. Staples, sutures,
see.
drains. My dog was on 4 rounds of antibiotics. And it was pretty traumatic. So I brought her.
How many drains did your dog have?
She had 2 drains.
What kind of dog is your dog?
A cocker mixed with a golden retriever.
So what did she say to you then?
She just said, "Oh, well, bring me the paperwork." So I did bring her some paperwork on the vet bill.
Is this the puncture wound?
That's the puncture
That kept you out of
wound.
work for a week?
That kept me out of work for a week.
Listen, this is a horrible thing. I know that this was a horrible thing. But you're asking for an additional $1,600 for being out of work, plus $2,000 more for pain and suffering. The pain and suffering has to be yours over this, as opposed to that you wanted to stay home from work a week because you needed to nurse the dog.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Question: are pit bulls roaming a neighborhood more dangerous than the average dog roaming?
Not if they've been trained properly and taken care of. No.
Okay, what do you say?
No, they aren't. They aren't more dangerous.
There are a lot of pit bull attacks.
Well, they're trained to do that then.
Okay, what do you say?
If they're not abused and they're treated well, then they should be fine.
So it's the same as any other breed?
I think pretty much.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
Based on what I'm listening to, I'm going to rule as follows. Number 1, you're paying the vet bill. Number 2, you're paying the medical bill. Number 3, you are going to pay her $1,000 in lost wages and pain and suffering for the injury that she suffered. Because I don't know that that injury takes that long, okay? So that is a total that I am ordering you to pay her of $1,960.81. And may I suggest that you keep the dogs under your watchful eye, because they are pit bulls after all. And this is the nature of a pit bull. And when I say that, I am not demeaning pit bulls. I am worried about the pit bull owner and their conduct. That is what we talk about when we're in court. They need to be in. You have dogs that should not be roaming the neighborhood. Oh, this one's so nice. And the kids will bring them back. That is not how this works. Neither one of them can be outside without a leash. And frankly, if we know that there's already an attack on record, without a muzzle, okay? But you make sure that if there's solar panel guys or any other person there, that you are the one who lets them in and out of your yard and does something to secure your dogs so that your dogs don't get out. Because there's other people who live here too. Okay? Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Well, for some reason, the defendant, after losing this case, comes out with a big smile on her face. What are you smiling?
I'm just nervous.
Oh, nervous?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a nervous reaction.
Well, what do you think of the outcome here? The
It's
plaintiff.
fair. It's fair. I feel horrible. I didn't know that it was that severe. She didn't come to me as it was that severe. And honestly, if she would have came as that severe, it would have been taken a whole lot.
Really? Is it her responsibility, or maybe could you have reached out to her a little bit more and shown a little bit more empathy?
Honestly, I tried to.
Okay. All right. This will never happen again, I take it?
No.
You sure of that? Because you're going to do what?
What? Watch my dogs under a watchful eye.
All right, right down this way. Okay. All right, come on in here. Take it easy on that finger. Don't hurt the finger coming out here. How is the finger now?
It's doing okay. I didn't get the nerve damage back yet, but
You have no feeling in the finger?
yeah, it's kind of numb.
What has this whole thing been like for you? What was that moment like when you had?
It was pretty bad. I was in survival mode, and I'm just happy I have my dog.
All right. Hope you feel
Thank you
better.
so
Head
much.
right down this
Thank
way.
you.
All right, Harvey, over to you.
Okay, Kurt, here's the deal. If you have an animal that is out of control in the neighborhood, a neighbor, and they will not own up to their responsibility, call the Department of Animal Control. I am telling you, they will come out, they will investigate. Worst case scenario for the owner, they will take the dog away. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Whether it's routine maintenance, an emergency repair, or a dream project, Angie lets you compare quotes from multiple local pros, browse homeowner reviews, and even book a service instantly. Angie's been connecting people with skilled pros for nearly 30 years. So the next time you have a home project, bring it to Angie to get your job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This is the plaintiff, Lakima Ethna Ashiri. She says the defendant is her sister and they live together. A short time later, they got into a fight and then she moved out. Her dear sister told her she could leave a few of her belongings behind until she found a new place, but then did an about-face. 7 days later, the defendant put all her belongings on the street in the garbage. It was raining out and her beautiful TV was ruined. Her bicycle was stolen, as was her bed. And she's here suing her own flesh and blood for the $1,000 she's out. This is the defendant, Marisha Davis. She says her sister caused a whole lot of havoc when she moved in and ended up moving out a short time later. She gave the plaintiff every chance to come pick up her abandoned things, but she didn't, so she tossed them in the garbage. And here they are. She's accused of setting off a sister.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff is suing her sister, whom she lived with, but they had a big fight and she moved out. The defendant put her stuff on the street that got ruined in the rain, but the defendant says the plaintiff abandoned her stuff. It's the case of Twisted Sister.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Lakima Ethna Asheri, you are suing your sister, Marisha Davis, for $1,000 in items that you say she tossed to the curb before you could have a chance to pick them up. What happened?
Well, she allowed me to stay with her, which was in November, because a friend of mine I was staying with, she moved out of town, which she kicked me out.
How was your relationship with your sister before that?
Well, it's a little rocky, but I think every sister has a discrepancy with a sibling.
Okay. And?
The agreement was that I would pay her, first it was $50, and she bumped it up because of the cable, which that's no problem. $100 a month is nothing. I told her that it was only temporary until I found a place of my own.
And then what happens?
I told her that I found a house, which was in December, and that I would be moving out.
According to you, she stayed the whole month of November, right?
Yeah, she did stay the whole month of November. I believe she moved in like the last week of October. She moved in the last week of October.
What's the age difference between you?
2 years.
Okay, go ahead.
But the argument started because I asked if my girlfriend could come over. And it went left. She talks to me like, I don't know, she feel like she raised me. Her mouth is ridiculous, which is both, it goes both ways. But either way it go, you're my sister. Me paying you $100 of rent was nothing.
See how you guys have broken your mother's heart?
This has been going on for 21 years, 18 years. This is what it is. So, I mean, honestly, however it turns out, that's still my sister, but she's ridiculous. We don't deal with each other. So.
Do you
I
have
don't
children? Either of you have
appreciate-
children?
She has children, and I can't see them because of whatever we go through.
Have you tried to see her kids?
Yes.
And
I
she
have
won't
to
let-
go through her baby father, and he tells me no because she says no.
Why?
Okay, well, prior to her living, we do not communicate. We do not get along. I can text her and be like, well, how you doing? What do you want? I'm like, oh, well, I won't text her. Call
I don't get it, how you
It's
doing?
no stress off my back. However, yes, I told her she couldn't see my kids because when she lived with me before, she's disrespectful. This is around the time when my son was first born. It was disrespectful. We got into it. I put her out. I set her stuff out. She came and got her stuff that night.
You're just telling me about why you don't want to see her. What does that have to do with whether
Because
they
I
have
feel
a
like
love it?
she
Stop
told
and
me-
listen. What does that have to do with whether they have? As far as I'm concerned, the more people who love and take care of my child, the luckier my child is. So why is it that you won't let her see your children? Oh, how old are your children?
7 and 1.
7 and 1. So certainly the 7-year-old knows her because, and especially since she was living there for a month. But so why is it you won't let her see her nieces, nephews? Both?
Because I feel like
Niece
when
and
you
nephew.
tell me, I make sure you don't have no house, no car, or no job, or no man. I feel like that's just not taken from that's taken from my kids. So when you threaten me like that, you're not allowed to see my kids. And then it's not like
Did you say that?
What I did say was, if you set my belongings outside, which this is after she set my belongings outside, if I was the that you were, then I would make sure you had no house, no car, because could be vindictive.
How could you make sure she had no house and no car?
Because how she set my belongings outside and made sure.
Oh, you mean you'd hurt her house or her car?
Exactly.
That's nice. Well, then I see why she doesn't let you see her kids. All right, but now, okay, so you move out, and do you move out in a fight with her?
No.
Okay,
I
why
got
don't you
kicked
take all
out.
your belongings when you move out?
Okay, she kicked me out, which was, I think, 3 days before I was supposed to move into my apartment. Now
How
we got.
come, okay, wait, hold on. Why weren't you able to stay there until you were moving to your apartment?
She kicked me out.
But why? What happened that
She
day?
kicked me out because I asked her if my girlfriend could come over. Honestly.
Okay, why is that a reason to kick you out? What was the problem with that?
That's not why I kicked her out.
So if you have a sibling that you just really don't like, and you have a kid, would you still let your kid have a relationship with a sibling?
Not a chance. If I don't like my sibling, my kid's not liking my sibling. They're obviously a bad person because I have good taste.
Interesting. What do you say?
As long as they're responsible and the kid loves them, then family's family, I think. So yes.
What do you say? What do you say? Tiebreaker.
I think so. Yeah, yes.
Dude, can I tell you something? You know who you look like?
Don't say Kevin Hart.
Okay, then I won't say. He looks like Kevin Hart going inside the courtroom.
I can't walk around in little shorts because your girlfriend's there, or I can't walk around in a t-shirt and underwear because your girlfriend's there. Like, no, I don't want to see your girlfriend every
I'm
time
sorry,
she's
did she
off of
ask
work.
if her girlfriend could move in? Or
No,
did she ask if her
asked
girlfriend
could
could
she come over? But she was there when she was off of work, like she lived there. Like,
I was hardly there.
All right, so now, okay, so go on. So she says, you know what, just get out now. And then you get out. But how do you move all your stuff that's there?
I moved my things. She told me that my belongings could stay. So I moved my things out when I moved
What
into
day
my...
did you move?
It might have been the 9th. But I moved my things out that day when I came to get my belongings.
Okay.
I had a TV, which is like a box old-fashioned TV. It's huge. And I couldn't get it out the basement.
Okay.
And I was on like a time period. I asked her, can I leave my TV?
How old was that TV?
10 years, 9.
Is that what you're suing for?
Yes, I am.
How do you figure that a box-shaped TV that's 10 years old is worth $500?
Because my mother
Good luck with that. Your measure of damages in court is going to be the value of the item at the time of the loss.
Exactly.
So you had a TV, a big box TV that's a decade old, and the measure of value is what could you sell it for, at a yard sale? What could you get for it if you tried to sell it? All right. You also had a bicycle. Tell me about that.
My bicycle was a racing bike. I paid over $400 for it.
Do you have any paperwork from that bike?
No, I do not. I couldn't I looked it up to get some.
Okay. Do you know what kind of bike it was?
No, ma'am. It was a Jordan bike.
All right, and then $100 for bed rails because you had bed rails. And apparently, what did she do with all of these things that you left behind?
She set everything outside to the trash.
When did you set it outside?
I texted her at 15, like, well, when are you come? Can you come get your stuff, by the end of the week? Because she said, well, you said you can stay here. She never said how long it's going to stay there. She said till she finds someone who can help get it out the basement. It took 3 men to get it out the basement. And it was no reason.
Wait, but it's only been a week since she left it there.
Yeah, I asked her when she was coming to get it. I said,
and what did she say?
She said, you are miserable. You told me it could stay there. I said, well, I don't feel like doing no favors. Like before, I don't understand why would you, then right after she moved out, we didn't talk when I kicked her out, and then she came back. She just pop up. She gonna text me when she leave. Can I use your shampoo that I just bought? No. Like,
what are you guys, 4? So what did you do with her stuff? You went through the trouble of getting that out of your basement to spite her and put it on the curb?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's gonna cost you. Do you feel good? Because it's gonna cost you. What do you think? You can't. First of all, technically speaking, you're a landlord and she's a tenant. Okay? Can you imagine if you said to your landlord, can I keep this here until I can find somebody to help me? And a week later, your landlord says, pick it up tonight or it's going on the curb, and then you put it on the curb. Your landlord can't do that. The law protects you against your landlord doing that. What do you think is the difference here? She's staying at your house, quote, you're doing her a favor, but you're charging her, so she's a tenant. And you tell her she can leave it there, but then you change your mind because she called you a B word or whatever it is, and you can't stand her attitude and you just don't feel like being nice to her, that's fine. But there's a consequence for putting her stuff out on the curb. According to her, the bike was stolen. What happened with the bike?
I gave it away to one of the people who helped me take the stuff out.
Oh, you gave the bike away?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He wanted to use the bike, so I gave it to him.
And has he returned it?
No.
He wanted to use the bike or he wanted to own the bike?
I was putting it out. He said, well, can I get it? I don't care. It's going out on the curb anyways.
My sister.
What's wrong with you? Listen, do you love your sister?
No.
I didn't ask you. Do you love your sister?
I did.
I did. Do you love your sister?
I love my sister to death.
Do you really?
I do. I really do. I don't talk to my husband.
You know, I tell my daughters all the time, you know, I gave birth to 3 humans who should be best friends cradle to grave. Cradle to grave. I mean, you know, this is it. People come and go. Your friends come and go. But this is what you have. But it ups the ante a lot to take her things and put it out in the street. It does. And, you know, she's got tears in her eyes. I don't know, you know, I mean, it's not for my benefit because I'm already ruling here.
She's always crying about something.
Well,
she's
but
sensitive.
You don't know me, huh?
Find a little, stop. I had to melt that ice a little bit because this took a little ice, you know?
She texted my baby father and told him after I did it like 12 o'clock that night. I told my mom the next day. She texted my baby father the next day and said, oh, yeah, she's cheating on you with men and women, just so you know. Oh, no, I don't feel bad. Like you, and then you, no, I don't feel bad.
Okay, and you would like to respond to that how? Did you call her baby's father the next day?
Yeah, but vice versa, if her things was in my house, I would have never set her belongings outside. And yes, I did the next day text
just
her.
between you and me, because I want to know that you learned something from this. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay, I want to know that you learned something. When someone has your stuff, is it a good idea or a bad idea to call her what you did?
Well, probably a bad idea.
There you go. I just want to know that you learned something. That's all.
Oh, I definitely
Now
learned.
let us discuss the bike. Okay, how old was the bike?
Like 2 years, maybe a year and a half.
How big was the TV?
60 inches or better. I have a picture of it.
Yeah, let me see it.
This is a picture of it out in the rain.
Oh, goodness. Let me see all the pictures of the rain.
That's the only one. That's the only thing
when
that was
do you
out
find
there.
out she put it out by the curb? The next day?
Yeah, my mom called me the next morning and was like, do you know that she set your stuff outside last night? And I'm like, no. And it was pouring down raining. No, I didn't know that.
I'm going to order you to recompense her for the value that I find of the things that you ended up putting by the curb that were damaged and therefore, or that you gave away of hers, and that therefore she couldn't use anymore. And it's not going to be the amount that she's asking, but I am going to order you to pay her $450, okay, in damages. I got to tell you folks, man, I wish you both would just like take some time to stop being sassy with each other and think about it and then put it in perspective. Because honestly, you don't know this because you're both so young, but life is so short. You think you're going to live forever and that there's time to make up later, and then something happens and then the time is stolen from you. Good luck, folks.
Tough case, of course. How are you feeling coming out of the courtroom here?
I feel fine.
You're pretty hard about the whole thing. Is there a soft side to you?
Them are materialistic things. She'll never gain a sister back. It's over. So, you know.
Are you sure you want to say it like that?
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because don't you want to leave the door open to change your mind at some point?
No, I changed my mind the first time when I let her come back the second time.
All right. Okay. All right, so you were the one who said I love my sister to death, and I didn't hear her say the same thing. What's going through your mind here?
Well, it's been like that all our life, so I can't change it. She just need to realize what she's doing to her kids. Scratch my mom. My mom has me. she got to grow up. Period. As the older sister, she needs to grow up.
And when she does, you'll be there for her?
Probably not. I'll be there for my niece and my nephew always. When I can see them.
Harvey?
Okay, so you know, abandonment laws vary from city to city, so you should check online to make sure what the rules are for you. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Tyresha Brown. She says she met the plaintiff on a dating app called Plenty of Fish, and the louse owes her $100, and she's suing him here today in the name of justice and principle. That's right. She hopes the Honorable Judge Milian will teach the defendant a lesson and award her the money he owes her because she works hard for her money. This is the defendant, Kenneth Turner. He says the plaintiff just got out of jail for beating up her former boyfriend and needed a place to stay. So he told her she could stay with him. They agreed she would pay him $360 a month towards rent. She only gave him the $100. Then he discovered she was hiding a dog in the closet and it peed on the rug. Bottom line, the plaintiff turned out to be a huge troublemaker. She left, and the $100 he got was for the time she lived there. He is accused of being fishy.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff met the defendant on the Plenty of Fish dating app and says he stiffed her on a loan. But the defendant says the plaintiff had just gotten out of jail. He helped her out. It's the case of Suhi.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome.
Tyresha Brown, you are suing Kenneth Turner for $100 that you paid him to rent the place and he wouldn't give you a key. Explain.
Yes, Your Honor. That's pretty much what sums it all up. I met Kenneth about a year ago. And
how did you meet him?
We were on a dating website. And,
called?
It was called POF, Plenty of Fish.
Plenty of Fish?
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
It is. No, I've heard of it. I heard of it. How do you rate it? Do you like it?
No.
No.
Not anymore.
As dating services go, or you just don't like dating services?
You know what? I just think that I'm okay with communicating with people, over the internet.
You are okay with it?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I don't want to.
So do you like the site or you don't like the site?
I don't like the site anymore.
Okay.
No.
All right. Is there another way to date on the internet that's not an internet dating site? That could you?
I don't know. Maybe you can be hooked up mutually through someone.
Yeah, we'll just call that meeting, like meeting in person, like you just meet the person. Try it. It's I think it's the most efficient thing in the world. It's a functional equivalent. It's a modern day equivalent of my bar. I met every guy I ever dated at a bar, and now, that's a little harder. So it's great. Anyway, so you two meet, but you stay friends, I guess.
Yeah. When we first met.
Did you ever date or no?
No, we didn't date each other.
There's that many fish, okay. So you didn't date, but you stayed friendly, and then you needed a place to stay. Why?
Yeah, what happened was a situation occurred
just give me an idea.
I lost my apartment.
Okay, so you go over there, or you talk to him, and he says, you can stay with me, help with the rent, and the agreement is you're going to pay how much?
$360 a month.
And then how are you going to pay that $360?
The agreement when I got there was that I would be able to pay him in installments. And
did he think you were going to pay the $360, and then you got there and said, I don't have $360?
Well, no. He just said pay $360, and then when I got there, I said, okay, will you allow me to pay you $100 now, and I'll give you the rest throughout the month. He said okay. He said that was fine.
So then what happens? How does it go wrong, and how quickly?
I noticed when I first got there, he didn't give me a key to the apartment so that I would be able to come and go. As I
Where were you staying physically?
In the room, the vacant room that he had.
He had a vacant bedroom? Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you ask him for a key?
I did ask him for a key.
When did you ask him for a key?
Pretty much the entire time that I was there.
What would he say to you?
Yeah, he would just say, I'll have the key for you on Monday. When Monday came, I didn't get a key. I asked him, what was going on. Still nothing.
Well, what would he say?
He said that I was being dramatic and asking for, I guess, too much.
When did he say you're being overly dramatic?
Maybe after the third or fourth time that I asked for the key.
And that was how many days in?
4 to 5 days.
So and what does the argument consist of? You come in and you ask for a key and he says you're being dramatic?
No, what happened was I came in and that's when she was with me. I was gonna do her hair.
Okay.
And I noticed when I went into the bedroom that he had took the light out of the bedroom. So there was no way for me to,
What do you mean by the light?
Well, there's a lamp instead of an actual light switch.
Okay, so he had taken the lamp out of your bedroom?
Right, he took it out. I figured, why was he going in there without me knowing that he was going in there, number one. And number two, if he was gonna take the lamp out, I felt like he should have at least communicated with me and let me know. Oh, bring your own lamp. So what happened was he overheard me telling her that I felt like he was trying to make me uncomfortable, to make me want to leave or, move out, whatever. And then that's when he approached the door and he was like, oh, I want you to get out now, get your stuff and get out. And he called the police.
The police? What did the police say?
Well, they asked about the situation.
Did the police make you leave or you were ready to leave at that point anyway?
I feel like they made me leave.
What's going on? What was the problem? Why can't you give a tenant a key?
Oh, well, I got 2 keys out already.
You know how to make a key?
Yeah.
It's not like the 2 keys, you put them together in a drawer overnight and they have a baby.
Well, my friend got a key. I got a key.
Sweetheart, you take the key, you go to Home Depot or whatever your local place is, and then you get a key. It takes 20 minutes.
I wasn't about to make another key out there. Like my friend got one, I got one.
Who's your friend?
He had his stuff in the room that she was sleeping in already.
Meaning it was there while she was there?
It was there before she ever arrived, and she already knew it was his stuff, which the lamp that she complained about was his.
What do you mean you're not about to make another key? Of course you are. If you're renting a room out to somebody, you got to give them a key.
No, because it wasn't supposed to be a rent. She wanted to push her money on me. I said you could stay here because she claimed she was sleeping in her car. She would get in hotels. I said you could stay here for free. You know what I'm saying? Got an extra room back there. You could stay there. You don't need to put your money into a hotel.
And she just pushed her money on you?
Yeah, she was like, okay, how much you want to do? No, I'm going to pay some and this and that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, how much you want? She said, how much you want? I said, $360.
Oh, you had a number even though you wanted her to stay for free?
No, I mean, I'm like, okay,
$360. That's what we call rent, pal. If you're charging her to stay in the place, it's rent. I don't understand why she couldn't have a key.
Better to meet somebody on a dating app or in a bar?
I think there are pros and cons to each one, and it really depends on the person.
You had to choose.
If I had to choose, honestly, I would go with the dating app because for me, there's no, I wouldn't know how drunk a person is or isn't when I meet them at a bar, but if I meet them on a dating app, there's a little bit more potential for me to have a conversation with them beforehand.
And then they show up drunk.
Yeah.
Going inside the courtroom.
There's also a trial error still. Because like I said, she had other complications that she was doing playing games. Like before she ever came in, it was $360. But when she finally get her, I just got out of jail. I got to pay everybody else their money. Like, okay,
is that what it was? You got evicted from jail?
I had bailed out of jail over something that I wasn't even supposed to be in jail for.
You bailed out of jail or you've been released from a sentence?
I was bailed out.
Okay, go on.
Police came and got involved because of her attitude. Like me and my friend.
Who called the police?
On the day of my birthday,
Who called the police? That was your birthday?
Yeah, on the day of my birthday, she come in with her friend. She's supposed to do her friend hair, I'm guessing. Like I said, the lamp don't belong to me. It's my friend lamp. We were playing dominoes in the living room. She passed us, went to the room. I started hearing her talking out loud, screaming, cursing me out and something like that. I turned the music down. Then me and my friend were playing. I'm like, who she talking to? She talking to me? Cause I wasn't for sure if she was on the phone or she was talking about me. Then once I turned the music down, I heard something like, that mother hear me. Low-key cursed me out. I'm like, so I went in what's the problem? I'm like, there's an issue here. Then she thought, mother, don't be walking up on me again. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, get your stuff and go.
Okay. Fine. Everything you're saying up to now, technically you got to evict her. But if you can get away with not evicting her by asking her to go and she leaves, that's great. Why don't you return her $100? That's the only thing I'm here about is you don't return the $100. If she pays to live there, she's a tenant.
I mean, I didn't have a problem to return the $100.
Well, what are you talking about? You obviously have a problem because you haven't, because that's why we're here. So tell me why it is you get to keep the $100.
First of all, she had a dog that wasn't supposed to be in there.
She had a dog?
Yeah, she had the dog in the closet.
Was the dog actually in the closet?
He was in the closet for 1 second.
What does that mean?
The whole time. The dog was running around the apartment. He was in the kitchen. I'm pretty sure he knows the dog name.
What kind of dog is this?
He's a Chihuahua.
Not to mention, she didn't take the dog out to use the restroom. She was there for like 4 days. I know, like didn't leave no.
My friend, I hear everything you're saying. You made all the right decisions. I mean, if she's harshing your buzz, then and it's a trial period, and all these things are going wrong. Fine, ask her to leave. She leaves. You're done. It's your birthday. Shouldn't be getting into an argument on your birthday or having somebody trash talking in your house on your birthday. Everything is fine until you didn't give the $100. Then you made me go through all this. I'm like the police when you make the police run. I don't like it. Okay? Why would you have no right to keep the lady's $100 when you kicked her out and didn't give her a key. Don't you see that? Can you imagine if you paid rent that you and the landlord agreed on, and the landlord could say, yeah, I'll give you a key. And then the landlord didn't, the landlord said, get out, and then said, no, I'm not going to return your rent. Sounds like garbage when you're the victim, right? Get back this lady's $100. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
All that over $100.
I know, petty, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily a little money. It's a lot of principle going on here too. Why'd you fight so hard for this 100?
I mean, I didn't fight for it. I mean, you come to court, you just go.
You just go with it. You didn't want to turn over that money to her.
It's petty. I mean, $100. Come on.
Okay, so you
laugh at that.
What about your decision to let her in the first place?
Bad decision. Definitely bad decision. I mean, like I said.
You don't like chihuahuas?
Nah, I mean, come on, they stink. And then, you know what I'm saying, either her or the dog, one of them.
Okay. Okay, right down this way. All right, so step on in here, and you had to go through all this for that?
Unfortunately, I did.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was trying to reach out and do a good thing for you, though. At first?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I feel that he had a motive the whole time, and a lot of the stuff that he said was a lie, but...
Okay.
I don't...
What was his motive the whole time that you just said?
I think he's trying to scheme and scam out of money. Like, why would you rent a room to someone that's already occupied? I don't know.
Already got...
Okay, look, I got to say this. I mean, sometimes people don't pay when they should pay just on principle. At a point, you got to think about it. Do you owe the money? It doesn't matter standing on principle. If you owe the money, pay it and move on.